That's Nick.
And that's Joseph. And today we're here to talk about The Crow! The third film directed by Rupert Sanders, and also, notably, the fifth film in the Crow franchise. Lionsgate is releasing it August 23rd, 2024.
There are 5 of these?
Yeah.
Oh,
well, this
wow.
is the fifth.
Okay.
So there was the 1994 classic, I guess, directed by Alex Proyas, which of course starred Brandon Lee, who died as a result of an incident on that film set. And then there were several sequels, including the only other one I've seen is with Kirsten Dunst, The Crow Salvation, I believe.
This director, what else have they done?
Rupert Sanders, if you remember, his debut was Snow White and the Huntsman.
Okay.
With Kristen Stewart. And the fallout after that film was his wife, who also starred in the movie and played Kristen Stewart's mother, and it divorced him because of his affair with her. Do you remember all that?
Not really.
That was the thing. Then further controversy followed his next film, 2017's Ghost in the Shell. Of course, a live-action update of that anime, which had controversial whitewash casting because of Scarlett Johansson. And now he's done this.
What is The Crow about? Soulmates Eric and Shelly are brutally murdered. Given a chance to save the love of his life, Eric must sacrifice himself and traverse the worlds of the living and the dead, seeking revenge. What is your pull quote?
For those who truly believe love means never having to say you're sorry, this utterly pointless and complete waste of time reboot of an arbitrary 90s franchise might satisfy. If only The Crow had learned from the Raven the sage advice of being nevermore.
Mine. Stylish cinematography and a rich soundtrack aren't enough to save this ludicrous love story. I'm going to start with the positives. I like how the movie looks. Mm-hmm. I did like the soundtrack. It's a blend of I'm sure people don't like this term, but I don't know how. It's like emo type music with some dance music. There seems to be some soft R&B in there at a point.
Enya's Boudica, which is one of my favorite 90s B movies, Sleepwalkers.
So I would actually listen to the soundtrack on a long drive. I did enjoy it. I like Pennywise.
Bill Skarsgård, yes.
That's about it, though. This story, the first movie was 30 years ago.
1994. I have very clear memories in elementary school of people being obsessed with that film and all the goth kids.
It took y'all 30 years to make this one.
Reveling in it. Well, I think there's been some developmental hell issues going on with this project, but I don't know how, because it's based, of course, on a comic series, and I'm sure that they are tied to some specific aspects of the lore. I'm talking about screenwriters Zach Baylin and William Joseph Schneider. But this just seems really adolescent, that we haven't evolved beyond anything here.
I mean, I was questioning, are Eric and Shelly supposed to be teenagers? Because the way they're speaking is that of junior high students, which
Yes.
we'll get to. But the story is that Bill Skarsgård plays Eric, and we see that he is in a place called the Serenity Park Recovery Center. Mm-hmm. Not sure why. The opening of the film, which I knew we were in for a doozy, because the opening is young Eric seeing his horse dying.
A white stallion.
But it looks like his family lives in a trailer park, and his mother looks like she's dying on the couch. Mm-hmm. So not sure if this is just a wild horse that he's fallen in love with, but we see this little boy with a terrible wig on crying over this horse dying.
That's caught up in some barbed wire. I don't know if that's what killed it.
I thought that opening was real crunchy. Mm-hmm. But while that's happening, we see an adult Eric, Bill Skarsgård, writhing in bed, like he's having nightmares about it. And he's narrating over this, saying something about the greatest loss or the greatest, really hyperbolic stuff for what we see on the screen. Mm-hmm. But anyway, he's in this recovery center and it's a co-ed center. So FKA Twigs walks in. Why is she there? Apparently, she has video on her phone, like incriminating video of someone else. And it's alluded to a number of times to the point where you're like, what the hell is on this video? And when you find out what it is, it's not that exciting, but the person who is concerned about the video getting out is looking for her. Mm-hmm. So she has the bright idea to basically get arrested. And she has a bunch of drugs on her, so they send her to Serenity Park Recovery Center. She meets Pennywise, and they instantly fall in love. Mm-hmm. One day she gets a visitor, and one day meaning like the same day, the next day, the visitor comes, FKA sees her and realizes, oh my God, I can't meet her, she's gonna kill me. So Eric and Shelly escape.
They cut off their little trackers,
climb out a window, hop a fence, and very easily escape. Oh, we need to get back to the center, but anyway, they escape. I don't know how many days you think passed, like 2 or 3 days?
Not that much time.
It could have been one day that passes, but we get this montage of them like dancing and swimming and reading books and...
She's reading poems.
Poems, sorry.
Rambo.
And they fall madly, deeply in love.
Truly, madly, deeply, in fact.
When...
I never knew there was a love like this before.
Ugh.
Another cliches.
When the bad guys catch up to them, they kill both Eric and Shelly.
Mm-hmm. With bags that you put produce in at the grocery
Produce
store.
bags that can't even hold my sweet potatoes, but sure did suffocate these two. Anyway, Eric ends up in Middle Earth, and then there's this guy there.
Not literally, not Tolkien's Middle Earth, but
this guy's there.
Purgatory.
He's talking about the crows could transport people's spirits, but sometimes when a good person experiences like an unbelievable tragedy, an unbelievable sadness, the crow will give them a chance to go back and avenge it. Mm-hmm. So they've done that for Pennywise. I don't even understand what the tragedy is because...
Was this a simple crow that was assigned?
This might have been a simple crow.
Was that's the first time this crow cried?
Yeah.
But that purgatory-like place, that is a character named Kronos, I guess. I don't remember them saying his name. But that's played by a very notable French language actor, Sami Bouajila, who I've seen in many things.
But the Crow Master tells Pennywise, you can go back and you can't die, but that only works if your love for FKA Twigs, Shelly, doesn't waver.
It remains pure.
Remains pure.
Whatever that means.
Well, we need to talk about that.
That's
too.
like trying to find drugs that are pure.
We'll talk about
Nothing's
it.
pure anymore.
So we get like 30 minutes of Pennywise running around, kind of like trying to find people, but he ends up finding Shelly's phone and sees the video. And what's on this video? So the bad guy is played by Danny Huston.
Vincent Roeg.
And he's this like rich guy who would initially, didn't you assume he's like a vampire?
He's something, feeding, a feeder.
He's basically sold his soul to the devil in exchange for like immortality.
He's an emissary, not unlike Mr. Cage in Longlegs, that's got to procure things.
But he's a soldier for the devil. Like he's procuring souls, and they have to be innocents. Which again, we need to talk about who qualifies as
Good luck.
But he sees what's the boy's name? Eric sees the video, and it's Shelly killing someone. But that's because Danny Huston has the power of persuasion. It actually is a really cool effect because he'll go in someone's ear and whisper, and it's kind of creepy.
It's creepy.
And then their eyes roll over.
Then they get glaucoma.
And then they go do the bad thing.
Usually we see them doing it to themselves.
Yeah, like they commit suicide, and then their soul goes down to hell. So once Pennywise sees that, now his love for FKA Twigs is no longer pure. So he dies again.
Like Meryl, he has doubt.
And then this is the part that really got me. So he goes back to Middle Earth, and the Crow Master tells him, well, sorry, girl, I told you if your love's not pure, you're not immortal.
He's basically like, she's gone forever in the depths of hell. Bye.
And Pennywise is like, my soul for hers. And that took me out. I was in one of those reclining chairs in the theater, and I had to put my seat back up because I was like, you only knew this lady for like 3 days. And their little romance, which we'll get to, was so damn flimsy. And you're going to like go to hell for her? Anyway, that's just as bad as the movies with the possessions where they're like, take me, devil, and let her go. Okay. But the Crowmaster says fine. And this is at the 75-minute mark when we see the actual, like the crow, like the full force Bill Skarsgård. And that's when the movie got good. Because we get a good action sequence and then we get to an opera. And this is where the crow, because he's told you have to kill everyone who was responsible for the death of you two. So we get like a 15-minute fight scene?
I don't even know what's that.
Maybe like a 10-minute fight scene in opera that I do have to say was really cool. It made no damn sense.
No, I had lots of questions. Yeah.
But there were a lot of cool kills, which we can talk about, I guess, later. But he kills everyone except Danny Huston.
Who's not there.
Who's not there. He's at his estate. The crow goes there, confronts him. Danny Huston tries to use his power of persuasion on the crow, but it doesn't really work. And so they both end up going down to Middle Earth. And the crow banishes Danny Huston to hell. And FKA Twigs comes back to life.
And they get a moment together.
And she wakes up in her apartment where she died. So the timing of things is very strange to me. So I don't understand. She wakes up like as if she had just died. And the ambulance person, like the paramedic resuscitating her, is the Crowmaster. That threw me off. The end. Oh, where to begin? Can we talk about how bad this dialogue is? I wrote down some. Maybe like 20% of the lines that really, I thought.
One of the first really bad lines, like there were several that I was wincing at, but the one where they're first flirting in the center where they meet in their pink outfits, she tells Bill Skarsgård that she thinks he's brilliantly broken. Dumb.
Okay, then when they escape and they're back at her, like she has like a sugar daddy who takes care of her.
Dom?
The guy.
Oh, the guy that's in Antigua.
Who's in Antigua, but she's staying in his luxury penthouse.
That is a homosexual's penthouse.
Well, maybe actually, but now they're like madly, deeply in love, and they're asking each other questions like, "What's the worst thing you've done?" FKA Twigs. I think she's beautiful. She reminds me of if you mix Kerry Washington and Lynn Whitfield.
She has like a childlike innocence about her.
But she seems dead behind the eyes.
Sometimes.
And the acting was not very strong.
But not FKA Twigs with another troubled white man.
Well, who's the other one?
Well, that whole drama with Shia LaBeouf assaulting her.
Oh, I don't know anything about that. Anyway, she asks Pennywise, have you ever loved someone? Like, seriously love someone? And this is while they're kissing through, like...
A curtain.
Whoever came up with that scene really thought they were... It feels like the romance novels you buy in the grocery store. Then we see them, like, suddenly they're with a bunch of friends in a pickup truck driving to a lake, and that's where they're reading poems and diving in the lake. And at one point, Pennywise says, we can be living like this all the effing time. Okay. The one that really got me is she tells him, if you leave me, I'll die. And he goes, if I left you, I'd be dead. Y'all have known each other for like 30 hours.
I mean, of course, I've come across people in real life that behave this way, and until that fizzles out for them, and then you get to see the after effects of it.
At one point, she asks him, do you think angsty teens would build shrines for us? And then I thought, is this what this movie's trying to do? Is it trying to create, like you mentioned in the beginning, back in the 90s when the first one came out, I recall people being really connecting to this. And I think it was because of the death of the star.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So I feel like this movie's trying to evoke that, but it's not there.
Then she has a line that says, if I ever become hard to love me harder? Is it something?
I mean, that could be like an Ariana Grande song lyric. But then someone's trying to explain to Danny Huston, like, the crow. And the way they word it is like, the power to escape death exists within him. Okay.
Yoda.
At the very end, when FKA Twigs comes back to life and the crow is stuck in Middle Earth, we hear narration that says, our love will live on in everything she does.
Good for you. Great. I love that for you. If you've ever been stuck watching two people who you just could not care less about and whatever they're going through, and how did this crow feel such poignancy?
You know what it reminds me of? We used to have a friend who had another set of friends who were a couple.
Yeah.
And they had been together for a little while, like not even a year. Mm-hmm. And talking to us. So this gay couple was talking to us. And what did that dummy say to us? Have you ever, do you know what love feels like?
Yeah.
Girl, this shit is not unique to you, okay?
No, it's more like, have you ever known what love feels like? And he's talking to two other couples, and it's like, yeah, and wait. Just wait.
Let me go through my notes. We do see Bill's butt twice. Well, like 1.5 times. Mm-hmm. Once in the shower, you get like half butt. And then their first, I guess really the only sex scene, you see his butt. That sex scene was like DOA. It was pointless. Like, if this is supposed to be a love that defies space, time, heaven, and hell, I did not get that from this old weak-ass love scene they had.
Yeah, at least some candle wax a la Body of Evidence. Something that's... does not just vanilla,
Let me tell you something.
Vanilla.
If someone took Body of Evidence and CGI'd a crow flying through it, that would be better than this movie. Okay, can we talk about Serenity Park Recovery Center? It's really nice. The rooms were really nice. Like, I would fake a mental illness to get in there.
It felt very Scandinavian, yeah.
And then their outfits are really cute. They're all wearing like what look like designer, like light magenta jogging suit or sweatsuits. Mm-hmm. So it seems like a really chill place, and then it's called a recovery center. So, but then they're acting like it's jail. The guards are really mean and aggressive.
Yes, it seems to be like a lot of black men working as the guards, and they're kind of shouting and jostling them around.
That was really weird to me. Mm-hmm. And then the fact that it's co-ed seemed really inappropriate.
Co-ed, but they don't want them to fraternize.
And then the way it looks is like they have armed guards and dogs and mm-hmm. the fence, and they're in the middle of the woods with barbed wire. But then it's super easy to break out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they just go out through the laundry room chute.
Okay, I mentioned I like the music, which I did, but it's very jarring. Like the editing of it, the placement is really jarring. I laughed out loud when it was explained that something so tragic and sad had to happen for Pennywise to be placed in Middle Earth. Like, what? These two, I don't want to say mean things, but they just seem like two losers.
Well, it's just basic. That's the thing.
And we know nothing about him except his horse died when he was little, and his mom looked like a crackhead. And then FKA Twigs, she seems like just some lady loafing around. We do meet her mother, which was really odd.
Okay, that character who basically sold her daughter to Danny Huston, it's implied.
In exchange for what?
A
modeling career?
In exchange for blown up pictures of herself?
Because in her apartment, which the front room looks like she lives in a penthouse, and there are all these large portraits of her.
Whole wall.
But then when Pennywise goes to FKA Twigs' room, it looks like she lives in squalor. Mm-hmm. So I was very confused what kind of building this is. And what did Danny Huston do for the mother?
I get... she became a model. I don't know.
But that's all we know about her is that FKA Twigs used to be play the piano, but she said that her mom had her playing in places that were really dangerous and bad things were happening. And probably that's how she got mixed up with Danny Huston. But then it's like, is he a vampire? Did he change? I'm like the mom. I don't understand what's
I'm
happening.
also confused about why he's so concerned about this video footage that it shows
someone else killing someone.
Shelly's killing somebody. He just whispers in her ear. At most he's an accomplice. But
I thought it was going to be something like we see him transform into a bat or something, and he knows that everyone's going to know he's like otherworldly or something. But yeah, when you finally see it, it's like all of this commotion for that video.
You have to viciously murder all these people just for this? Okay.
We see, I wrote down that FKA Shelly likes to hide stuff. Because in the opening, when she's about to run and hide, she hides her cell phone in like a hole behind the wall, like in the wall. And then we see that back at her mom's house, she's hid some photographs in a hole in a wall.
Yeah, she's a little squirrel, and she forgets, because there's at one point she's like, oh yeah, I forgot I have this over here.
Okay, we need to talk about their love being pure. How can your love be pure for someone you don't even know? I don't understand.
That's just being naive. That's your love is in ignorance, because...
But the crow, like, what does the crow know?
I mean, crows are smart birds, right? But...
I know this is a comic book, and we're gonna get comments.
But in a way, I wanted to fondly recall other '90s properties, or even '80s, like The Punisher, which the first one's not very good with Dolph. But Darkman, I actually have very fond memories of Darkman with Liam Neeson.
Oh yes. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say. I mean, unfortunately, this movie felt so basic and dumb until the 75-minute mark when the crow kicks in. And then now we see Bill Skarsgård being like a badass and killing people in that opera scene. And I feel like if most of the movie would have been him doing that, I would think this is a pretty kick-ass action movie. Because he is pretty captivating on screen. Although I think the problem with the first hour is that he comes across as like some rich kid with a bunch of tattoos who's like going through it.
He's a reluctant hero.
And then the way he speaks is very soft and his accent comes in and out. So it's not till he becomes the crow, like full on, that he seems more powerful. And
I wanted a scene of somebody saying, "That'll do, crow."
Oh, from MST.
from Babe.
Oh, from Babe.
And a shout out to, it's nice to see Laura Birn, who's a Finnish actress I quite like. I haven't seen her, like 2012 movie she did called Purge. I remember a really good performance. And then also Heart of the Lion. She plays Marian, who is working for Danny Huston. And I like her energy on screen, but she really doesn't have anything to do.
What would you give The Crow?
1.5.
Yeah, this is a no for me. I would give it 1.5 out of 5. Join us on Patreon and listen to our podcast. Bye.